Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to tell you about the general syntax for Linux and Unix commands. It is like this, people. There are many commands in Linux and Unix systems. I'm going to write some of the commands here, people. Some of these commands are pwd command, cd command, the ls command, cat command, more, etc. And we will do this, people. We'll explore these commands and many more commands in this Linux and Unix command line fundamentals course. Okay, when it comes to the commands, the many different commands that we use in Linux and Unix systems, there is a general syntax, people, that we can follow when it comes to different commands in Linux and Unix systems. It is like this. Okay, let me write like this. General syntax for Linux and Unix commands, or I can say like this. General syntax for commands in Linux and Unix systems. Okay, so according to the syntax rules, when we use a command in Linux and Unix system, the command is the first component, people. Okay, the command itself, it is the very first component. Then we have something called as a white space that functions as a separator. Okay, then the second component is the option or options that we can specify optionally. Okay, here I will make this bold. The second component will be the options or options. Okay, one thing important, people. Whenever we are using the options, we must precede the option with a hyphen character. Then the third component is this, people. Okay, now there needs to be a separator. I will explain what is a white space in a little bit of time. Now the third component is this, people. Arguments that can be optionally specified also. Arguments. One or more arguments can be specified optionally. So these are the three components in the Unix and Linux commands that we can use according to the general syntax rules. The command itself is the first component. The second component is the optional specification of options. Whenever the options are specified, they must be preceded with a hyphen character. And then the third component is the optional specification of argument, that is one argument or multiple arguments. Now, what is the white space here, people? The white space is used as a separator between these different components in the command. Okay, now let me explain this, people, here about the purpose of the options and the arguments. Starting with the options now. It is like this, people. Every command will have a default behavior. The option or options can be, I can write like this, people, again. I'm sorry, I'll repeat this. The options for a command can be specified optionally to modify the command's behavior so that the command will not use its default behavior and it will instead work with a different behavior. That is the purpose of the option or options. The options, for this reason, they are also called as switches. Now, the arguments. What is the argument or arguments that we can specify? What are they going to do? It is like this, people. The arguments, the argument or arguments are the target objects, are the values on which the command has to operate. And for many commands, arguments can be specified optionally. Okay, now I will tell you in a little bit more detail about the white space. This term white space is something that you will hear about a lot in Linux and Unix world, people. Okay. Now, according to the syntax rules in the Linux and Unix systems regarding the commands that can be executed, it goes like this. There needs to be a white space between I'm sorry, people, I'll repeat this. There needs to be a white space between command and option or options. There needs to be a white space between option or options and arguments. And then there needs to be a white space between every argument if more than one argument is specified. Okay, these are the general syntax rules for the use of commands in Linux and Unix systems. Now you may have noticed, people, I have specified the separation between the command and options and the separation between the options and arguments in the form of a white space. Okay, now I will explain what is actually a white space. So it is like this, people. Okay, let me write this. What is a white space? And in fact, we do not have to specify this less than and greater than symbol, people, before and after the white space that I mentioned here. It is just a space separator there. Okay, and I have mentioned like this in the syntax there. The white space itself, what is that? A white space is like this, people. A white space is a single blank space character or a single tab character or a group of contiguous blank space characters or a group of contiguous tab characters or a group of contiguous blank space and tab characters. So any of these that I mentioned here, people, that forms a white space. Okay, that is what I told here, people, in this portion, white space as the separator. So we can use any of these that I mentioned here as a white space. So this less than and greater than symbols are not required, people. Okay, I just wanted to highlight that in this portion we have to use a white space, and that white space can be any of these that I mentioned here. The white space can be a single blank space character or a single tab character or a group of contiguous blank space characters or a group of contiguous tab characters or a group of contiguous blank space and tab characters. And I will just take a simple example for a command, people, like this. Example for a command. Please do not worry about the ls command that I am telling about here, people. Okay, ls is the command. When I run the ls command by itself without any options and arguments, it has a default behavior of listing the files in the current directory, and it will only list the file name. Please do not worry about all this, people, about the ls command. I am going to tell you about the ls command in detail in the next topics. So here is an example for a command that I am writing. ls is the command. Then I can leave one blank space or one tab character or a combination of these blank space and tab characters as a contiguous sequence. Okay, and then one example for a option is the L option. The L option of the ls command will ask the ls command to produce a detailed report for the listing of files. Then we can also mention some file names for which we want to get the ls command output, people. So we can specify the arguments optionally like this: file1 and file2. Please do not worry about the use of this command here, people. This is just an example that I am mentioning about for the context of general syntax for commands in Linux and Unix systems. However, we'll explore the ls command in a lot more detail in the next topics. Right, now ls is the command, L is the option, file1 and file2 are arguments. And please notice, people, between the command ls and the option L, I must have a white space, which can be any of these that I mentioned here. And between option or options, that is in this case L option, between the L option and file1, which is the first argument, between them I must have a white space. Between file1 and file2, between these two arguments, I must have a white space. Alright, people, I will now conclude the presentations in this video. Now, please subscribe to this channel and also share this channel if you find that this channel is useful to you in learning about Linux related topics. Thank you.